like ICE isn't making, I don't even know how many mistakes a day in pursuit of Stephen Miller's 3,000 a day quota and getting paid
Let's
for
give
it.
Greg a chance.
All right. I'm going to focus on the backdrop because you went back to the officer to avoid
Yeah,
what's really going on.
Renee Good murder.
Yes, because that is actually not the story here. The story is, the story is how you got here. And you won't admit that that is the reason why we're, this isn't about immigration. It isn't about ICE. It isn't about Trump. It is about suicidal empathy that is driven by a rescue fantasy. You have all of these young, middle-aged women going out there because they have some kind of emptiness in their lives that are going out there in this kind of rescue delusion, helping people they don't know, strangers who are guilty of crimes. How can you defend that? This is not protesters going to a church. That is a mob. The people that invented the phrase safe spaces are breaking it up, frightening kids, right? These are the people that call us fascists and they're hunting people. These are the people that claim to defend women and yet are defending men who abuse women. These are the people that call us homophobic, and yet they want to out ICE guys for using, I don't know, gay sex apps. Let's be honest here. Fry's a pussy. He's scared of these people, or else he would stand up for it. Calling it love, there's no such thing as a mob with love. And imagine showing this tape to Don Lemon 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and saying, is this where you saw yourself? Lemon, crashing a church service, scaring kids, attacking a pastor. Was this your hope and dream to do this? Radicalization is gradual. Black Lives Matter is now bad guys matter. And now you'll defend anything. You're defending rapists. These are the people you're defending.
On what
and I'm going to go back. No, you had your chance. You brought this up. Where are the police? You know, when you have Hamas supporters and Jewish students, police make the separation. Antifa, Proud Boys, police make the separation. Pro-life and feminists, police make the separation. Somehow, that separation is not even here, even when the leaders are framing this as protesters versus persecutors, because that's part of this fantasy world that you live in, and yet they decide that they don't need cops to separate it. The ICE agents aren't supposed to deal with that. Mm-hmm. That's what the police do. So you got to ask yourself, why aren't the police there? Because it's a deliberate thing to create this spectacle. And then I'll finish.
All right, what's up, guys? Gutfeld on fire tonight. I'm loving it. Loving every second of it. Anyways, what's going on, everybody? I'm Ace. Welcome to the show. We got a lot to catch up on tonight, a whole weekend's worth of news. By the way, it is getting wild. I just got to say that what's going on between Trump and Europe we've never seen it before. So we're going to talk about that tonight, how the Cabal, the globalist city of London, freaking out. Davos, World Economic Forum, they don't know what hit them. It's all falling apart. Putin is out there rah-rahing Trump. It's awesome to behold. So, and then we got this whole Minnesota escalation. Don Lemon leading this charge into a church, just breaking all kinds of norm standards. The people hate it. Nobody wants this. And so we're watching and waiting as they keep ramping stuff up. The question is, what's going to be the counter? What's Trump waiting for? What's he going to do? Insurrection Act, is it coming? Who knows? And then at the end, we're going to talk about the little story coming out of Europe warning of economic collapse because of, you'll never guess it, aliens. Yeah, that's right. So a little teaser there for what we'll go through. So we got a lot to cover tonight. Before we get started, if you guys do not mind, take 1 second, hit that like, hit that subscribe. I greatly appreciate the help and support for the channel. And if you're watching on X, if you don't mind as well hitting that repost button, getting it out there, I'd be very grateful to you. So let's get going in the chat. Say hey to everybody. Uncle Andy, what's going on? Kasink in the house. Scott Volkovich, Blue 5, the one, what it do? Toe Cramp, America. Gerald Kramer, good to see you, friend. Yeah, we don't talk about that anymore. Pat M, what's going on? AZ Tropic over on Rumble. Jeremy Bodel, Jack Hamilton, all right. Linda Telly, Vince Felice, Linda Goy, love it. Says Linda says, good evening. Everybody had a good weekend. Vince, did Trump go to Davos yet? No, I believe it's next couple days, man. Keep an eye on it. He's definitely ramping it up anyways. Linda says, found out Patriots Act signed last night by the auto pen. Really? Well, the Patriot Act was signed by Bush, so that would have been in 2001 or 2002 before Obama. So I wonder what part Obama had to do with what you're talking about. Damn it, Sean, what's going on? Moose Knuckle, what is up, buddy? I've missed you, Moose. It's good to have you back, bud. All right. Shall we get into it? Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and let's get right into it, guys. So, if you didn't know, Don Lemon, the good old gay, black, flaming, libtard, wooden pencil, Don Lemon, wooden pencil of a personality, Don Lemon, led a little protest into a church this week. Absolutely disgusting. These people just sitting here minding their own business, and here come these protesters. Look at the place is packed. Everybody's happy, minding their own business, worshiping God, and these people just come to the front. I mean, this is unreal. This would make me so angry. I'm not going to play the sound. It's not worth it. But it's infuriating to see this. I mean, this is the kind of thing that the people see, and turns everybody quickly against the protesters. This is where the left is going too far. They're overstepping their bounds. And I mean, well, maybe we'll play.
Where are you? Where are you? Where are your people? Why are you not at Whipple every day fighting for the human?
Just sick stuff. So we're watching. I mean, what point do you get to when the left pushes this far? They're now showing us that nothing's sacred to them. We already knew they hated religion. They hated the church, but this is a major overstep. And I mean, have we ever? Again, I just can't think of any time in modern history we've seen this pretty gross stuff. So, Harmeet Dhillon, though, already right on it, says a house of worship is not a public forum for your protest. It's a space protected from such acts by federal criminal and civil laws. Nor does the First Amendment protect your pseudo-journalism of disrupting a prayer service. That's a knock right at Don Lemon. Here we go. Don Lemon defends storming the Minneapolis church today, shutting down the service, says this is what the First Amendment's about. Protests are not comfortable. Just gross. And then there's this guy, this racist on here with this woman's awful. I don't know if you guys have seen this chick, but these are just the worst of the worst. Don Lemon sounds like he's always
and
on
there's a certain degree of
SSRIs.
entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice.
Religious freaks. Did those look like religious freaks to you when they were just sitting calmly in their pews? That look like religious freaks to you? I don't know, Don. Yeah, you jackass.
But I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely.
I mean, listen, as gross as this is, and as infuriating as it is, I want you guys to take a second and back up and just see it the way I do. This is panic, okay? When they're at this point, because there's sacred things in America, right? Free speech, freedom of religion. There's certain areas where all the smart liberals never went. Obama never went into a church like this or supported it. He's too smart for that. Clinton's, et cetera, et cetera. But now they're panicking. And what they're doing is they're getting to the point where they're saying, okay, we can't act like anything sacred. We can't play by any rules at all. Not that they played by many, but there were a few of them. And they're starting to go all out. Don Lemon used to be on CNN. He used to try to appeal to both sides. And now all of a sudden, just because you're in a church, you're a religious extremist and a white supremacist. That kind of language tells me they're faltering, they're flailing, they're falling apart. You know, Minnesota, when they just took away all these illegals, they believe they're down. There's so many illegals been taken out of Minnesota now that they're going to be down an electoral vote, which is also a House member. So Minnesota as a state just got less powerful in the national debate because of this, because of their corruption. See, that's a major blue state, and you better believe it's going to a red state, because the red states are the only ones growing. That's panic. And they know that the more they push, you know, right now, the left doesn't care about public opinion anymore. They don't. And that's why they're ultimately going to lose, because they're scrambling so much. They can't play it slow anymore. Everything they stand for, everything they've accomplished, everything they've pushed forward in the last couple decades is being unwound at a dizzying pace. They don't know what to do about it. This whole ICE thing, it threatens the very existence of the Democratic Party. Get rid of the illegals, get rid of the Democrats. That's what's going to happen. We're going to continually see states lose electoral votes and House members. We're going to see voter rolls get cleaned up just by removing this. The economy is going to improve. Everything they told us was a lie, and everything we've been led to believe about this left America, this America that's more left-leaning, and just look at the voting, and you know, Republicans can't win a popular vote. We're learning all that's a lie, and just cleaning up the illegal problem brings that to light. And that's why they're so panicked over ICE. And as Minneapolis, as Minnesota stand, you know, in 2020, they made their biggest stands in Portland, Seattle, but Trump has mobilized a lot of stuff on the West Coast. It's not as easy to get all that done on the West Coast as it was before. And they found a governor in Tim Walz who wants this battle, because he thought that because Kamala chose him as vice president, he's important now. He thinks he can handle this battle. Well, it's falling apart for him quick. But they're choosing Minnesota as their big battle cry, their battle cry of the Republic, you know, their galvanizing force. Win Minnesota and we beat them back. So all eyes on Minnesota right now, continually. It's very interesting too, the timing in winter, all that, beginning of the year. Watch this fall apart. But this is why we're seeing all this going all out. And instead of backing down, the Trump administration is doing exactly what we'd want them to do. And it's actually hilarious. DOJ, Harmeet Dhillon, announces the intention to charge Don Lemon under the Ku Klux Klan Act. I don't know about you guys, but on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, to see that a gay black man is about to be charged under the KKK Act because of his infractions, just the irony makes me so happy. You know, all the stuff these people put in place is all coming back to bite them, and the irony is delicious. KKK Act makes it illegal to threaten, hurt, or intimidate people to prevent them from exercising God-given rights. Harmeet Dhillon says the Klan Act, one of the most important federal civil rights statutes. Law makes it illegal to terrorize and violate civil rights of citizens. Whenever people conspire, this Klan Act can be used. Everyone in the protest community needs to know the fullest force of the federal government is going to come down and prevent this from happening, put people away for a long time. So we trap them. They keep pushing. They've never, you know, some people say like they want this fight. No, they actually don't. What's happened in the past is you have an entire generation of leftists in America that were raised and to believe that the protesting is how you win. You fight back, they back down. And listen, in many instances, they were right. They were going up against weak governors, weak presidents, you name it, over and over again, just weak. And even the people paying them, they're like, oh, this is how we rattle them. This is how we get them to back down. You know, a lot of these protesters are paid and it's all staged and whatnot. But they've never come up against a force like this before. See, the Trump administration isn't just ready for this fight. They're smart enough to fight it on the best possible grounds. They have all the right people in position. Now, I know some people are going to be disappointed. Some things might not move as fast as you want them to, blah, 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 all the same complaints. Regardless, I mean, all you have to do is listen to Harmeet Dhillon, and you know this woman is on top of it.
In this case, I see various crimes that have occurred. Exactly what they are, I'm not going to flag, but the FACE Act has been mentioned as one of the predicates there. In other cases, the Biden DOJ used the Klan Act conspiracy charges tacked on to the FACE Act in the case of protests outside abortion clinics to bring much longer sentences. So there are a number of tools available to us. Who funded?
Did you notice what she said there? Is important. The Biden
DOJ used the Klan Act.
Biden DOJ used the Klan Act on top of the SAVE Act. So they're putting it together and using exactly what the left did against us and throwing it back at them. It's beautiful stuff. She's brilliant. And you could just see like she's the exact right person in this to fight in this area. So this is going to keep ramping up, but they're continually fighting. This is why Trump hasn't used the Insurrection Act either. He's allowing them to keep violating the law in new ways to ramp it up so that more and more charges can be filed, more and more statutes can be brought against them for different indictments. And then as it ramps up, yeah, it might be time for the Insurrection Act. Guys, but if nothing else, watching all this, you should realize we're definitely in civil war. There's no doubts about it anymore. Now, it's not a 50-50 war. It's not even 40-60, like you could say the original Civil War is. No, this is more like 10% versus 70%, and the other 20% are just off in la-la land. That's what we're looking at. This 10% is trying to usurp the United States as we know it. Overturn the Trump administration, like fight back at every opportunity, and they're going to be knocked down. But it is a civil war. It truly is, and it's just ramping up more and more. But the thing is this isn't like the past. They are not organized with in where they could get a military, stuff like that. We're talking about a bunch of blue states that are all over the place. They're disjointed, they're weak, and this is their army. The protesters, Antifa, this is their army. That's who we're dealing with. They're going to ramp up, they're going to try to do stuff, but at the same time, they have nowhere near power to make things get really, really violent. Now, the crossroads is going to be, Tim Walz is starting to talk about using the National Guard. If he uses the National Guard to stand up to ICE, well, Trump comes in, federalizes that National Guard, which he has full authority to do so. And that's where, and Walz at that point will have committed sedition or treason. And that's where we could really get ramped up. So all eyes on Minnesota. Keep seeing what happens there. But guys, we are winning if this doesn't prove it to you. DHS just announced they've arrested 3,000 illegal immigrants in Minnesota just last night. 3,000 in a night. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but that's winning. And maybe, just maybe, we'll get to see Don Lemon behind bars soon, which would make me very, very happy. Lochtefeld says, how the heck would Don Lemon know whether the folks in that Southern Baptist Convention Church are racist and entitled? because a lot of them were white. That's the only reason. And that's how awful he is. Some of them attend the Church of the Poison like Lemon. Alan Krantz says, Lemon going to enjoy them close jail showers, going to drop that soap. I love it. Toe Cramp says they're desperate and broke. 8 of 10 YouTube ads shown to me are for Act Blue, and you know YouTube's giving them either for free or very little. Well, yeah. So talking about that, Toe, you're absolutely right. And you know, this is why the Trump administration is so smart. You know, last year, remember everybody was saying, this is going to be Summer of Love 2.0, 2020 all over again, riots. And they started in LA. And what happened? Within a day, Trump had the National Guard in LA, Marines on standby, shut it down. That ended real quick. And then Trump did his military parade about a week later. And that was the show of force. That was the show of Commander-in-Chief's here. I'm in charge, guys. That's exactly why he did it. And so that summer of Love 2.0 never materialized. Okay? It was done. It ended quickly. And what also came about from that, though, is the fact that Bessent started going into all the funding, and in that funding removing it. And so this year, and remember, now most of the NGOs, many of them are gone. USAID is gone. Some of the funding they're trying to get back to them is not there yet. So even if the Congress pushes through like this NED funding, which is retarded, but if they push it through, it's got it's $500 million, which is far less than the billions and billions of dollars they were getting before. So if they push it through this, they'll have a little bit of funding, but it's still nothing like they had before. The tracking of all this is going on financially. The dollars are stopping coming in. They're building RICO charges. So it's all building, while also they have, every time they do something like this, it's running them through their cash fast. It's burning their cash fast. So we're not going to see 2020 all over again. They just don't have that in them. But they could still cause damage to a city, and it might be enough to bring in the Insurrection Act. We'll see if we get there. Moody says WAF doesn't know it's about ahead of me. Oh, you're absolutely right. So speaking of that, so that's the war at home right now. That's where it stands here at home. And, we'll throw a big party when Don Lemon hopefully goes to prison. But let's talk about what's going on abroad. Things really ramped up today and yesterday. So coming out from Trump, says NATO has been telling Denmark for 20 years you have to get the Russian threat away from Greenland. Unfortunately, Denmark's done nothing about it. Now it's time and it will be done. So this Greenland thing continues to ramp up, and Europe hates it. There's a huge red line in the sand for Europe. They are trying to do everything they can to get rid of it. This is one of their last vestiges of extra power, the fact that they have this very valuable piece of land security-wise in the Arctic. This gives them Greenland basically, because once you have, so we have Alaska, then there's the Great White North, and then you have Greenland, and then you have the Arctic. So if America gets Greenland along with Alaska, we'll basically control a large portion of the Arctic. They love having this. The Cabal loves having this. I have a feeling there's probably some stuff actually going on up there that we don't know of. But regardless, they do not want to lose this. They are pitching a fit. But Trump keeps pushing. Now, some interesting stuff going on. They started sending troops to Greenland. And on the 16th, this tells you how well Europe's doing. I've been having some people being like, look, worry about, European armies. I'm like, there's no European armies worth worrying about. But here's the German soldiers arriving on the 16th and then leaving as soon as Trump announced tariffs. All 20 of them, This is their show of force. This is why even send them in the first place? Well, they're trying to make a point. We're going to stand up for ourselves. We're standing up for Europe. This is a line in the sand. We're sending troops. Really? So these guys basically came, they saw, they froze, and they left. That's your German army right there, folks. That's what we're dealing with. This is why Europe is not scary. You realize America has been Europe's army for decades at this point. I know they have troops, don't get me wrong, but that's all they've depended on us for all their defense. I mean, like when they helped us in Afghanistan, Iraq, and it was this big alliance. Oh yeah, they sent like 1,000 troops here and there. It was nothing compared to what we were sending over by the tens of thousands. This is what they do. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. They have nothing to stand on, but this is their show of force. And this is what Trump means when he's saying, oh, you know, they added a second dog sled. This is this is what he means by it. It's just this pathetic show of force. But still they did it. And the fact they did it at all is like their attempt to be like, we're serious here. Because you just don't do this. You don't stand up to America like this. It just hasn't happened in a very long time. So it's still kind of them trying to be like, oh yeah, buddy, we're serious about this one. Well, serious or not, is nothing to fear, obviously. Now, the other thing people keep saying about Greenland is that, oh, Denmark gives them such a great quality of life. Well, let's listen to what Scott Bassett has to say about their quality of life over there as Greenlanders.
And annex all of Greenland, something that 85% of people living in Greenland oppose.
Well, again, and let's look back. Denmark has a terrible history with Greenlanders. There was forced sterilizations up until the 80s or the 90s. So all of a sudden, now that the U.S. has expressed an interest, there is this new interest. And again, the United States needs to be in control to prevent a war, and that we do not want to get dragged into someone else's war.
And annex all of...
So, yeah, nothing like a good forced sterilization, taking some kids away. I mean, come on. Like, they treated them like lesser humans. So, yeah, okay, you might get free healthcare, but that free healthcare comes with a price. Just like here, you're getting some healthcare, go to school. Oh, yeah, you're getting vaxxed, baby. How about a COVID jab in your neck? How about a cancer diagnosis a year later? Yeah. Was that worth it? See, the thing is about European, their great lifestyle is that every benefit comes with a little bit less freedom. And that's what we've lost in this country. We've, not all of us, but a good portion of people have lost that. America's about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Well, you take away liberty, and then you take away the pursuit of happiness, because there is no pursuit of happiness without liberty. You can find a little bit of happiness, you can find a little bit of joy, but it's all within this boundaries where you can never fully find or express or grow to who you're meant to be. You can never explore what's really out there for a life without liberty. But Europe is all about take away that liberty. Socialism is all about take away that liberty. Let the state feed you, take care of you. And many people are willing to give that up. But I'll tell you one thing, it's never better, ever. That's why people all across the world, every single time, communism takes over, socialism takes over, at some point it becomes too much, too big, and the people revolt because the people ultimately, the human heart, the human soul screams for liberty. And so they might have an easier life because of this free healthcare and socialized medicine, schools and, big pensions. They might have an easier life, but easy is rarely better. And when it comes to a life in general, it's never better. Ever. Not if it means getting rid of liberty. So Greenland, the Greenlanders are in for a treat once we take over, because we won't force sterilize them. We won't take their kids away from them. But you know what? It might be a little harder. They might have to actually pay for that CAT scan for once, but they won't have to wait 9 months for it. So, hey, which one would you prefer? And Greenland, of course, just, Denmark, they had to apologize for it. So this is not some big conspiracy theory. So, all that to say, this isn't just good for the U.S., it's good for Greenland as well. And even Putin knows this and has known it for a long time. Putin, in a speech, talked about how the U.S. has been planning this since the 1860s. Reminding everyone that when the U.S. bought Alaska in 1868, newspapers called it madness, an icebox, and a garden of polar bears. In other words, they thought we were crazy back then. And now Alaska is one of our greatest assets because of all of our wonderful oil, minerals we get from Alaska. Oh, do we have a fun a troll in the chat? This guy thinks he's oh buddy. Oh, goodbye. Not blowing up my chat. Thanks. Laters. Loser. All right. Cleaned it up for you guys. Don't have a mod here tonight, so I will moderate. And you know, so I might have to upgrade some people to mods. People have been here a while, but we'll talk about that another time. Anyways, so I lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys. I jumped in the chat for a second, but okay. Anyways, let's continue. This has been going on for 100 years. Let me put it that way. 150 years. It's been on our radar, and it came up again under Truman. So even though we might not be used to it in the last 10 years, 20 years, we're used to it as a country. Get Greenland. It's time. It's time to make a lot of this work. Now, Trump just went full blast over this, okay? And wrote this to Norway today about the Peace Prize, but this also is in regards to Greenland. Considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace, although it'll always be predominant, but can now think about what is good and proper for the United States of America. Guys, I don't know about you, but that sounds like a declaration of war without being a war. But in that language, Trump just put the entire EU, Europe, everybody, Russia, China, but mostly Europe, on blast. This game is not a game anymore. This is America first, and I will do whatever it takes to get there. Listen, let me read that again. I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace, although it'll be predominant, but can now. He's free. He's saying, I am free now. I am free to focus on what's good and proper for the United States. That, my friend, says, get in line or you're effed. That's what that's saying. Denmark cannot protect that land from Russia and China. Why do they have a right of ownership anyways? There's no written documents. It's only that a boat landed there hundreds of years ago. I have done more for NATO than any other person since founding, and now NATO should do something for the United States. The world is not secure unless we, the United States, have complete and total control of Greenland. That, my friends, is a shot across the bow. And listen to what Putin, weighing in on this whole situation, had to say about Trump and Europe. This is fascinating.
Что-то изменилось, что ли, со времен Байдена? Да ничего не изменилось. Они с удовольствием выполняли любой приказ со стороны Вашингтона при Байдене. Просто им Трамп не нравится, они с ним боролись активно, да, реально вмешивались в политическую жизнь, предвыборный процесс в Соединенных Штатах, а потом растерялись, когда Трамп вдруг выиграл. И потом Байден ментально им больше нравился, понимаете, ментально. А у Трампа другие представления о том, что такое хорошо, что такое плохо, в том числе в этой гендерной политике, в некоторых других вопросах, им как бы не нравится это. Но я вас уверяю, Трамп с его характером, с его настойчивостью, он наведет там порядок довольно быстро. И все они, вот увидите, это произойдет быстро, скоро, все они встанут у ноги хозяина и будут нежно помахивать хвостиком. Что-то изменилось.
Did you see that? Trump, with his character and persistence, will win. And then the way he ended it, they will bow at the master's feet and wag their tails. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds to me like Putin is Team Trump. Putin's rooting hard for this to happen with Trump. Putin knows who the real enemy is. We are about to have, in the next couple years, a massive bunch of scales fall from eyes about what Europe really is. Putin knows. And Putin is not who we were all told he is. I'm not saying he's the best guy in the world. I'm not saying he hasn't done some terrible things. But that dude cares about Russia and Russia only. And he's going to do what's best for Russia. And he recognizes this globalist empire coming out of the European Union is the true evil in the world. And that's what he's actually fighting against. And he knows Trump, for the first time in decades, 100 years or so maybe, Russia actually has a true ally in the United States. Real Russia, not Soviet Union. That, my friends, is wild. It's so wild, in fact, I'm going to play again one more time. It's less than a minute long, but I want you guys to read the words he says towards the end about Trump. It is wild.
Что-то изменилось, что ли, со времен Байдена? Да ничего не изменилось. Они с удовольствием выполняли любой приказ со стороны Вашингтона при Байдене. Просто им Трамп не нравится, они с ним боролись активно, да, реально вмешивались в политическую жизнь, предвыборный процесс в Соединенных Штатах, а потом растерялись, когда Трамп вдруг выиграл. И потом Байден ментально им больше нравился, понимаете, ментально. А у Трампа другие представления о том, что такое хорошо, что такое плохо, в том числе в этой гендерной политике, в некоторых других вопросах, им как бы не нравится это. Но я вас уверяю, Трамп с его характером, с его настойчивостью, он наведет там порядок довольно быстро. И все они, вот увидите, это произойдет быстро, скоро, все они станут у ноги хозяина и будут...
There it is. I mean, restore order quickly, stand at the master's feet. Calling Trump the master of Europe. And then the restore order part, I think, is very important too. So interesting Putin said that. And then we get this statement from Trump today. Again, this is the first time we've seen Trump, we've seen America as a whole stand up to Europe. No more playing the games that there are allies. No more playing the games pretending that they're actually helping us. They're there for us. It's a great relationship. Nope. Calling them out for what they are. You're standing in our way. And we're going to find out more and more. I mean, I should say we mostly know it. You guys watching this show, but the people, the regular people, the normies, so to call them, are going to start seeing more and more as this all unravels, just how little Europe's done for us. And it's in fact been hurting us all these years. And even Nigel Farage, who's supposed to be like the right-wing leader in UK, even he is getting up in arms about this. Farage shocked U.S. threatens its allies over Greenland. To use economic threats against a country that's been considered to be your closest ally for over 100 years is not the kind of thing we would expect. It would be very, very hurtful to us. Well, why? Why, Nigel? Why is the U.S. doing what's best for us? Why would that be so hurtful for you guys unless you're completely dependent upon us, completely dependent upon robbing us, taking from us producing for you, you guys getting your money laundered through us, through our markets. It's funny that would occur, right? Can't you stand on your own 2 feet? This also kind of tells you Farage is a phony. He's one of them. It's all a game, folks. It's all a game. Both sides. Uniparty, fully controlled. especially in Europe. There's some good ones. Giorgia Meloni, maybe Marine Le Pen. They're very scared of her in France. There's some good ones. But Farage, he's been put up for a reason. He's getting given a pedestal for a reason. It's because they know they can fully control him if he gets in. Don't be fooled. This guy's supposed to be the leader of the UK resistance, the common sense guy, the new Trump over there, and yet no, he just told us where they're at, where he's at, I should say. But then you have, I think that's Meloni right there. But look at this. EU leaders are desperately searching for an off-ramp from the standoff. They got into a fight they can't win, and they know it. So now they don't want to lose Greenland, but they also know if they go up against Trump, it's all collapsing. Europe's economy is on the border of falling apart. They are in deep, deep crap. And so every time the pressure they build on the U.S., Trump's upping those tariffs, it's going to collapse their economy. And so now they're trying to save face and get out of there. And they're trying to figure out, how do we save our economy? How do we survive and also not give up Greenland? Good luck with that. Meanwhile, did I mention that all this is happening when Trump's getting ready to give a major speech at Davos? And he's brought with him the largest American entourage to Davos in history. I think Trump's going over there to kick ass and take names. And I also think he's putting down the gauntlet while he's there. There's going to be a lot going on behind the scenes. We're not going to get to see. Oh, that's Ursula von der Leyen. You're right. She looked happy. And so I thought she might be Meloni. Meloni's a blonde too. He was always smiling. But the point stands. I mean, they're trying to get out of here. In a private meeting, the largest party in the European Parliament ruled out against EU's trade bazooka. Oh, so they thought they might use a weapon against us with their trade, but they can't. They can't. Because anything they do to disrupt us will destroy them. That's how fragile things are in Europe right now. So fragile, in fact, that they're bringing out Klaus. Hey, Klaus, he's got a message for us. Let's listen to what the devil himself has to say.
Professor Klaus Schwab, you write that our society faces a dramatic but elusive crisis. Can you explain?
We are missing in our society two fundamental pillars. It's truth and it's trust. And without restoring those pillars, we will not be able to solve the big global issues which we face at this moment. It's a keyword of dialogue, of listening each to another, and in such a way to see the different aspects, the different dimensions of a problem. And that's fundamental in order to be able to create afterwards solutions.
If there is one decisive factor of the intelligent age, what is it?
I think it's the capability, in view of the fast and disruptive technological change, to remain human beings. And as human beings, we have to exercise empathy, we have to listen each to another, and I think we have to analyze issues, not just with our brains, but also with our heart, and with an understanding that ultimately we have to serve not ourselves, but society.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Amidst all the piano playing and the nice music, he drops the bomb right at the end. No, it's about communism. It's about not what's good for us, but what's good for society. You notice that? He puts all those fluffy words out there. Empathy, the heart. This is what they do. This is how they talk. It always sounds so nice and flowery. And then they drop the bomb. You have to look for it sometimes because they cover it in a bunch of crap. But it's there. Yeah, don't think about what's best for you. Why is Klaus Schwab putting out this kind of stuff, trying to like regain some following, regain some trust? Guys, because they're panicking. They're panicking. This is right before he goes to Davos. Are you kidding me? So while Klaus is trying to rebuild it, put out a little hope out there, we have the UN Secretary General saying that the UN Security Council no longer represents the world and is ineffective. Really? Tell us something that we don't know. But coming from the UN Secretary General, that's a big deal. See, the UN it doesn't matter anymore. Trump went down there and destroyed it last year. Just absolutely dropped a bomb on them. It was a great speech. Called them all out, how feckless, how awful the UN's been, how it's enabled all this Europe to basically fall apart. And it's over. I mean, the UN is done, and even their own leadership is starting to see it now. And then you have Trump doing this. Bringing to Davos a new Board of Peace signing ceremony. A new international body to replace the UN in handling global conflicts. You have to get $1 billion to join. He's leading it. And guess what? He's invited Putin and Lukashenko. So Trump is bringing a new UN, quote unquote, but this is not you're just in because you exist. This is you want to be a part of trade, making these foreign decisions, foreign policy decisions from a global perspective. You got to pay to play. You got to put something up. And this is completely different than the UN. This is wild. I cannot wait to see how this works out. But if Putin joins this, Lukashenko, you get Viktor Orban, maybe. I mean, you get all the people they hate joining this, and all of a sudden Trump, all of a sudden Trump's built a new UN with all the ones they hate the most, and he starts bringing peace to the world. I mean, this is the beginning of the end. He's going to Davos to start this. This is are you with me or are you against me? This is the line in the sand. How wild is this? I cannot wait to see what he has to say in his speech. This is very interesting. And it's ramping up all over. I mean, Denmark has now said they won't attend Davos as Hurricane Trump expected to dominate the event with the largest U.S. delegation ever. I mean, are you kidding me? Denmark is so pissed about Greenland, they're not even going to show up. That sounds like you don't show up when you know you've already lost. You don't show up when you're still in the game. This is fantastic. And we're going to see how it all plays out. But what's coming back, as he disrupts the UN, ends the Russia-Ukraine war. Trump right now, as he dominates Europe and is putting an end to the globalists, which, by the way, as Europe falls, as he ends their hold on everything, that's the end of the deep state too. Because, guys, this is the center. It all started in UK. It's all leftover remnants from UK's banking, their financial empire. City of London. It's all traced back to there. You can trace the founding of Israel back to there. Yeah, wonder why they use Israel so much. You can trace back the hatred of Russia. You can trace back they're our longest standing enemies until World War II. But, still, what happened after World War II? They kind of just dominated us again. It didn't look like it on the world stage, but when you think about how our middle class has just been getting weaker and weaker while Europe's been living this high life of, vacation life and high pension, all that funding in a country, in a whole zone of countries that doesn't really produce anything anymore. How does that even make sense? It's because they've been robbing us. We became the piggy bank, and now that that's ending, it's going to end the cabal. That's what Trump's doing right now. He's completely defanging the deep state. In Europe is it. We're at the end game, guys. But it's the beginning of where we're going. He's about to crush them. Coming out of Davos is going to be very interesting. But again, this just goes for me to say I think by the midterms this year, there's a really strong chance we have Greenland and Europe. I mean, as they get weaker and weaker, the European people, there's going to be movements rising up to make Europe sovereign again. And we're already seeing, in fact, I did a members podcast that came out earlier today for members only, where I talked about this. Well, members, right after I talked about that in the podcast, look what came out. Alice Weidel announces Germany will leave the EU when the AfD wins. When the AfD wins the next election, she intends to give Germans a chance to vote to leave the monstrous EU. Guys, you realize that, Germany is the only country that still basically brings anything into the EU monetarily. And so they're the only country that still really manufactures anything, that has a strong economy in any way. And it's really not that strong, but it's all that's left. So the AfD would have won last time if they didn't intervene. They didn't steal it from them. But this woman, this AfD party, is ready to go. If they get in a sweeping move, it's going to be Brexit all over again, except this time it's actually going to matter a lot more. So get ready, guys. Are you getting excited yet? They're scared in Europe. That's why they're European. Let's see here. Basel says some of the NATO generals after World War II are from Germany. Absolutely. Alan Krentz says LBMA going down by the end of this month. Lords of London, insurance company, some London banks. Interesting. German beer is good. I'll give them that. Let's see. Are the Somalis getting in on Davos? With their billion stolen, Brett? I love it. That's good stuff. Yeah, great stuff. So listen, we are going into this year, the rest of this year, with Trump is going all out. He's starting the year all out foreign policy push. Venezuela broke the CIA's hold over drug running, smuggling, and a lot of the money laundering, because the cartels were laundering through the markets here. So that kicked them out, kicked the deep state out of Venezuela. So they lost that big hold. They lost control over a lot of the global supply chain of oil, at least price-wise, because they limited it so much. And then we got Russia, China out. I mean, that's taken over our hemisphere. Now Trump's doing this full blast on Greenland. And are you guys starting to see that the Greenland push is more about just having the land for defensive purposes, even though that is a big part of it? Greenland is actually, it's like it's like going in the back door, the way to bring Europe to the brink, because Trump knows it's a red line for them. I mean, think about this. NATO is funding the Ukraine war right now, using our weapons that they're paying for. It's funding the Ukraine war because they won't let us get out of it. Zelensky, is their puppet. NATO is the tool of the globalists, the deep state, to keep wars going on against Russia. Well, so it's a proxy war. They can't have it end. It's the last bit of hope they have to get destabilization, financial stuff, keep Ukraine in the hands of the globalists, where they were trafficking, human trafficking and money laundering, and biolabs. I mean, you name it. Ukraine was the hub of corruption. It's where they could hide everything. So they're terrified to let it fall. It also keeps Russia tied up. And they're terrified of Russia, especially now Trump's doing this. In all of this, when they are at the max of their capacity, when they are stressed, NATO's stressed, Ukraine is losing, they are about to lose this war, and their economy is about to fall. It is on the verge of breaking. Amidst all of this, Europe stressed to the max, the EU faltering, Trump pushes the button on Greenland and says, all in. I want it now. You will give it to me now. I don't care what it takes. I'm getting this. And Europe is scrambling. They don't know what to do because this blindsided them. And now that they're not dealing with Trump, he's upping tariffs on Europe. That's pushing their economy to the brink. And that's why, again, well, they're trying to get out, desperately searching for an off-ramp from the standoff. And all this happening when Trump's getting ready to go there as well. Because, guys, it comes back to this. I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace, but can now think about what is good and proper for the USA. That's the war cry. That's him saying this whole EU thing's over. So fascinating stuff. So this is getting tied up early this year. Fix all that, breaking their system down, as D6 just wrote. Ending the cabal. And what happens when the cabal's ended? Well, it's going to be a lot easier to get stuff done in the Senate and Congress because that is their handlers. MI6, who also uses Mossad as a proxy. Yeah, you guys didn't think Israel was on their own, did you? This tiny little country came out of nowhere, isn't even 100 years old. No, it's a proxy for what the Brits want to do. Not the Brits as you know them, but the city of London. Using Israel, all these deep state, all these intelligence agencies. Yeah, it goes back to the crown. It goes back to MI6. It goes back to the banking cabal. WEF, Davos, all of it. I mean, it's all interconnected, and it's all where the main players are. And they use everybody else. Well, they're losing grip on us. And if this funding goes away, if Europe falls, if the EU surrenders, and which is their only hope, I believe, to avoid a crashing economy, because otherwise Trump will crash their economy through pressures and tariffs. He doesn't care anymore. This is the way to break them. So if they surrender and avoid that, well, then they're going to start becoming sovereign more because they're going to start having fairer elections. It won't be completely fair at first, but the money's going to dry up here. And look what's happening in Congress now. Something's actually finally happening that's good. And real quick, David asked, could the Minnesota thing be a distraction from Trump? If he does the Insurrection Act, will it be more Orange Man bad? Minnesota it's not a distraction. It's an attempt to cause civil war here while also he's fighting the war over there. And it's trying to split Trump's attention. So in that fact, you could say it's a distraction, but it's more like getting attacked from both sides. And making it, they're trying to make him screw up. Do I believe the Insurrection Act? I'm trusting Trump on that one. If Trump's not doing the Insurrection Act, it's because he knows that it's not time and it could blow up on him. He's waiting for the perfect moment till he knows the people will support it. So yes, on that. All right, but look what's happening now in the House. The House Republicans are now coming together to push a second reconciliation, a second one big beautiful bill. in this one, which does not need 60 votes to break, because there's no filibuster for reconciliation, bans illegals from getting a dime of taxpayer welfare, codifies more Trump executive orders, eliminates 1.6 trillion in waste, fraud, and abuse, ensures only citizens count for purposes of allocating funds to states. That'll be huge. That'll hurt blue states so bad. Has affordability measures on housing and healthcare. This would be the second one big beautiful bill. This one would be focused on cleaning up, as you can see, waste and fraud, and the healthcare, all that, making things cheaper while also cleaning up spending. Also hurting blue states, by the way, which is what this one is for. You get all that cleaned up, that's more booming for the economy. This will be something that, if it goes through, will just accelerate the economy more. But that's not all. The House Republicans have decided that they're making a push, and they're going to force the Senate to vote against a Voting Rights Act that will that has 80% of the people on its side with voter ID. 80% of people support it. Johnson Scalise is about to pass a better version of the SAVE Act, requires both photo ID and citizenship to vote. Goal of lighting a fire under Senate GOP. So even though this will have a hard time of passing without nuking the filibuster, it will put Republicans on blast that don't vote for it or support it. It'll get the people all up in arms to put pressure for getting rid of the filibuster. And any Democrat that votes against this, it'll hurt them. So we're actually starting to see Congress come back to life. Isn't it interesting? It's happening at the same time the globalists are in full panic. See, everything Trump's doing, people are like, oh, he's doing too much overseas. No, you don't understand. He's fighting the real enemies. And the more he cleans that up, the more he wins over there, the more we're going to keep winning over here. Congress is getting scared again, which is very good. Congress was terrified of Trump at the beginning of his term last year because he was so popular. And what did they do? Passed a bunch of his stuff. Then the Epstein files came out, or the fight started over the Epstein files. Then the government shut down. Trump started taking hits, and they thought, oh, we got him. Lame duck. We won. And they stopped. Everything ceased in Congress. Trump comes out balling this year. The Venezuela stuff, pushing for Greenland, all very popular. Breaking Europe. And now, what's happening? Congress is starting to move again. None of it's coincidence. None of it's coincidence. It's all part of the show, guys. Brett says, I don't think Minnesota's too small to waste on the Insurrection Act. It could set a precedent. Oh yeah, I think it could be very good to use the Insurrection Act in Minnesota, but it's all about timing. That has way more to do with the timing has way more to do with the size of the state and city. I mean, Minneapolis is a huge city. It has nothing to do with the size. It is to do with the timing. 100%. Couples Light says British Empire never relinquished control of the world. Well, you're right. The financial empire never did. A lot of it, the other part was taken, but, and this is the end. See, for years, everybody was scared of the one world government. What they don't understand is that we were already mostly living under the one world government. Trump is destroying it. So let that, that'll mess with a lot of people's end times theology. Because, as I've taught here before, it's bad theology to believe in a one world government at the end that will take over. But if you understand that it's all part of a system that's going to be broken, then it makes a lot more sense. And speaking of broken things, the economy is still in their sights, and a crash still has to happen. The question is the timing and how Trump can manage it. because there's no way to get our economy fully back on track without cleaning it up through a crash. Now, Bam posted this today because we are getting all kinds of excellent economic data coming out. And Peter St. Ong shares this. America's trade deficit plunges by half to the smallest in nearly 2 decades. Chinese imports crashed. American exports grew. Tariff inflation absorbed by exporters. Trillions of investment coming. So great stuff. Well, Bam writes about this, what it's doing to his model. Bullish economic news is simultaneously colliding, which is this is exactly what I told you guys is happening, with bearish global macro geopolitical news. What is the bearish global macro geopolitical news? It's China and Europe, their economies cratering, especially Europe's. But it's also the cabal moving its money around to safe havens because they're scared and they also want to try to hurt Trump. So this is, it's very interesting, but as Bam writes, the globalists want to fight and embarrass Trump for the next 4 weeks, according to his model. So we're getting to the point again where we might see some major market instability, but this might be the time to let it happen. Because if it goes down and they can clean it all up, then heading into the summer, the economy starts booming again, everything recovers, and you're heading into the midterms with a booming economy on the upswing, fixed markets, and I believe a lot of people finally being held accountable heading into that. Plus global dominance on the foreign policy side that we haven't seen in decades. Let's see. What are you guys saying? Great Britain backed the Confederacy during the Civil War. It did. Yep. And Russia backed the North. Very interesting, isn't it? Russia actually, before the Soviet Union, was a longtime ally of the United States. I think Putin and Trump want to get back to that because they've always been an enemy of Europe. So, and they're not the Soviet Union anymore, like everybody wants us to think. So if you're enjoying this video, though, by the way, guys, I haven't said it in a while. I keep forgetting I got too into what's going on, but please take a second, like, subscribe. Really helps the videos, really helps my channel, and the algorithm loves to see that you guys like when you jump in. And so if you don't mind taking 1 second to hit that like, I greatly appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new, repost if you're on X, share with a friend who's blackpilling or on the verge of blackpilling so they can know how well things are actually going. So appreciate that, guys. And if you want to support the channel, you can go in the description, click on the Patreon link, get in the Discord, runs 24/7 every day, where we talk about all kinds of stuff. And then you also get members exclusive content, which includes members only lives. And now, starting just today, a members only podcast where you'll get an occasional episode here and there. So hope, you can join for free for a month. Whole month for free to test it out. That's pretty generous. In the link in the description. So thank you guys for your attention to this matter. Okay, let's keep looking economically. The Japanese 30-year bond is skyrocketing. So we're very close to seeing what will force the yen carry trade unwind, which could also be a trigger. So all kinds of stuff's going on here. We have the European markets in big trouble. We have China trying to keep their markets afloat. So we got all this global pressure. Japan, they got this new PM in, and she is trying to fix their problems economically, which by strengthening their bonds, strengthening the yen, is going to cause major stress over here because we've been banking on and tying up our money in our markets into their negative interest for decades. It's estimated as much as $27 trillion American dollars is tied up with the yen. So as that unwinds, it could cause a crash. And this started to happen last year, if you'll remember, actually 24, if you'll remember, on August 1st, only $1 trillion unwound, and it caused a 1,000-point crash in the Dow and the NASDAQ. So this is something to watch out for. And this is also, we have stuff like silver. It keeps flashing up, which if it crosses 100, it could really break. it could really break a lot of the shorts, cause a lot of margin calls, and that could start unwinding banks which have been low on liquidity. And then my favorite story of the weekend from the UK Times. The Bank of England must plan for a financial crisis sparked by aliens. Why now? So this is interesting. In my opinion, they know some big's coming in the markets. Europe especially is going to be suffering from this because they don't have a foundation to their economy that's real. Their entire economy is built on the financial system, which just means money flow, markets, always running around, and then free trade, open trade, and all that. They don't have strong labor. They don't have any manufacturing. It's a mess in Europe. So without the financial markets being strong, the whole thing will collapse. Meanwhile, in America, Trump has given us a solid base again for the people so that Main Street will not suffer nearly as much as Wall Street if there's a crash. We can weather the storm and we can bounce back quickly. Europe cannot. That's not how Europe is built. So they have to have an excuse because they don't want the people to come looking at them when everything falls apart. So what are they doing? They're seeding aliens. This is the first time in my life where, first of all, there's not going to be real aliens. It's not going to happen. But this is the first time in my life where I believe they're actually going to push that narrative in a way that could actually freak people out and get some people to believe something's going on there, at least for a time. Is what scares people more and gives them more of an excuse for things falling apart than aliens. As stupid as this story is, I actually think they plan on using it. So UK's paper of record treats UAP and non-human intelligence as a systemic financial and societal risk. Not culture, not conspiracy, not entertainment. See, not the real things that are the risks. At the center of it, Helen McCaw, former Bank of England. Oh, yeah. Does that surprise you? City of London. Senior analyst in financial security. Cambridge graduate, someone whose actual job was to think about state-level risk. She didn't come to this from UFO world. Comes to it from risk modeling, financial systems, and contingency planning. Anyways, she's a full-on globalist deep stater. That's what this all tells me. Formerly warned Bank of England that official confirmation could trigger bank runs, market collapse, and societal shock. Now, if that doesn't sound like seeding to you, I don't know what does. Warn the Bank of England that official confirmation. That's it. Just that confirmation of aliens. So all they have to do is run one fake story that comes out from government, like a government leak to a major paper or something like that. And all of a sudden they have their permission to let the markets fall. And they have a scapegoat. I don't think it'll work. I think the people will turn around on it pretty quickly. But this is telling you what they're preparing for. One way or the other, they're planning for a financial crisis. What they're because this is the UK Times. This is a major paper. Times has published it. And I like how he says he's incredibly proud of her. These guys are all together. They all work together. But get ready, because we're seeing the signs. Yen carry trade, silver. BAM's model is seeing it. Europe under great financial duress. And now we have, what could happen? So I have a feeling we're going to see it this year. And I have a feeling it's going to come before summer. But for us, it's going to be a good thing. It'll clean up the markets. Your 401k might suffer for a bit, but I think that's going to be a time of great opportunity. And coming out of it, we'll truly have the markets reset and a market that actually resembles our economy, moves with our economy, not separate from it, and is completely free, has completely weeded out the deep state control in the markets. That's why we have to have this happen, because it's all fake right now, but it's also being used to support Europe, money launder for the cartels. I mean, they put 500 billion in a year. It's such a mess. So, we have to see what Sigourney Weaver says about the aliens. I love it. Could be the front-running story before currency reevaluations. That's interesting thought. I didn't think about that. Let's see. Best to buy junk silver before the internet. No financial record keeping. Well, yeah, but can't go back now, unfortunately. BlackRock, you mean, is moving their money and sold off many bonds. Interesting. After their stock got hit by Trump the other day. Finally, the last thing I wanted to share, guys, is just Axios did an actual good story and an important story, because people say this election didn't matter because they're upset with Trump, but even Axios, a super lefty, although they're a little bit more moderate than other papers, they almost try to do a good job sometimes, did this story. In 1 year, Biden legacy presidency has been reduced to a footnote by a successor committed to dismantling every pillar of Washington's old liberal order. That tells you a lot, doesn't it? Trump committed to dismantling every pillar of Washington's old liberal order and has already erased Biden. I love it. I love that they're seeing it. And it just tells you guys how much elections matter. And we got another one this year. Not as important as the presidency, but pretty close. So D6, if markets reset, does that help or hurt highly manipulated tickers? A crash could benefit us, right? Well, the theory has always been that it'll help us because it'll break their hold. See, right now their algorithms and their money can control the market. So that's why short squeezes come and go quickly while they're controlled, manipulated, and most of them don't happen. But if they lose that control because things are tanking too fast and the algorithms get screwed up and they don't have the liquidity, yes, that could cause spikes. That could force margin calls that go soaring. So yes, in my opinion, guys, we're at the point they have so much control over these things, especially after solving GameStop and AMC. They have, I don't think we see the squeezes of highly manipulated tickers we want unless there is a market crash. I'm at the point now where I believe that if retail is in one of these stocks, it's kind of the only way to get a squeeze. So that's my belief on it. David, they tried to erase Trump's presidency, blowing up his economy. They tried, but it didn't work. So, all right, guys, on that note, though, hey, please like and subscribe as I close up tonight. Good things happening. We're trending in the right directions. Trump is getting a lot done, way more behind the scenes than we think. Arrests will come when the time's right. Insurrection Act, if it ever comes, it'll come when the time's right. All the stuff people are waiting for. But what's important is to focus on what is happening. And what is happening is win after win after win. The end of the deep state is upon us. The end of the global cabal is upon us. The economy is getting completely fixed and headed in the right direction to be a boom again. Don't you think that once the cabal is broken, which breaks the deep state, once that's broken and the economy is in order so the people will thrive financially, don't you think then that's the perfect time to do the cleanup of all the arrests and stuff you want? Yeah, it actually is. It makes way more sense to set the foundation first. So anyways, you can like and subscribe. The Discord is in the Patreon, David. So YouTube members, I lower the YouTube membership's only $3 a month. So you guys still get the members lives and stuff, but the Discord now is only accessible to the Patreon members. It's only $5 a month. So it's not like I'm asking for much, but it does make the Patreon more valuable because I'm trying to get the membership all the way to Patreon. Okay. So it's just way better to be there. So if you're a YouTube member, you still get members lives. I will post the podcast here as well. But Discord access is now only through Patreon. Okay. So get into Patreon and get your free membership for a month. And if you like it, it's only $5 a month after that. Okay. So, all right, let's pray. Because guys, can you not see how much prayer is working? This is all a miracle from God. This whole Trump presidency is a miracle from God. Winning the election and what's getting done. It could never have happened unless God had saved us, because we were at the brink. So in this show, if you're new here, we end every show with a prayer because it works and we're going to keep doing it. David, it's in the description. There's a link. All right, bud. It'll take you there, right there. I'll try to help you later, Dave. I don't know. I can't really tell you from the show. I don't really know how to do it. It should just be right there. Do you have a Discord set up? Sorry, man. I'll see what I can do. Can you hit me up on X and I can talk you through it maybe? All right. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God, thank you for all you're doing. It's incredible. We are witnessing miraculous times, truly miraculous times. And so we pray for our president. We pray for the great leader he is and his team, that you would protect them first and foremost. Give them wisdom, Lord, and boldness to keep going and doing all the hard things that nobody else dared to do, even if they're unpopular. And so, Father, we just pray a blessing over all of them. We pray for peace and prosperity in our land and justice. We pray for justice to come in everywhere it's needed and overdue. And Lord, I pray for justice in all the people's lives here tonight. Be with them, Lord. Let them feel, Lord, your presence, that you're with them. They're not alone, God, and whatever it is they need you in, just be there with them in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Love you guys. Have a blessed night, and I will see you all tomorrow, where I might have a fun guest on tomorrow.